When you are communicating, the most important aspect of any kind of communication, doesn't matter if your intention is to educate, if your intention is to entertain, or your intention is to inform. The most important aspect of communication in today's times is the packaging. Your communication is going to be received, well received or not received or rejected by the individuals only on the basis of the packaging that you provide them. Best example, look at George R.R. Martin's creation of the entire franchise of Game of Thrones. Look at how he has been unable to complete his last novel, but he packaged them very differently in the form of a series. And now they have another series which has branched out from that, The House of the Dragon. And so that is essentially him developing the plot lines and storylines, but it's the packaging. It's the packaging of that fantasy franchise in the form of a series, in the form of visual media, that is making George R.R. Martin so popular. One can argue that his novels, that his books actually held true the legacy, the concept, the authenticity of the ideas that he had written down. But George R.R. Martin, his reach as an entertainer has multiplied manyfold with this change in packaging. Another example, look at Forbes, look at Harvard Business Review. Look at these top magazines. Look at the lists that they provide. For example, Forbes list 40 under 40, 30 under 30. Sure, I mean that list is one of the most coveted lists. You want to be part of that. I wish I could be featured in Forbes 40 under 40. But at the end of the day, what is that the packaging for? It's to promote Forbes and Harvard Business Review, all of the journals that they bring to you, all of the academic studies that they bring to you. What is the packaging for? The packaging is that this is academic material that they are bringing to the fore to help people, to educate them, to bring the cutting edge of research and analytics to you in your laptop, in your mobile phone, or in the form of a book. But what is it really communicating? It's communicating the expertise of what the brand Harvard is about. At the very least, maybe 1 in 1,000 people are going to join Harvard Business, online schools, programs. At the very least, at least 1 in 1,000 people maybe, who wasn't going to join a Harvard online course before, is probably going to be prompted to join a Harvard online course, or go for a short-term Harvard course as a result of reading those books, as a result of reading those journals. What I can understand, and this series, although it has lagged behind, seeks to bring to you the simplest of concepts of communicating effectively. And what I have crystallized the importance of packaging into are these 5 points. The right packaging for your communication can ensure acceptance, determine penetration, resonance, instill curiosity, and a loyalty. What do I mean by that? Well, it's simple. Let's take the example of Harvard Business Review. I mean, it's coming to mind because I read their articles and I read their, journals quite a bit. What do you get as a result of reading those? Yes, you get a lot of information, sure. I mean, they're informing you, they're teaching you, you're learning a lot of things that you wouldn't learn otherwise. It's pretty crystallized. But in your mind, the most important thing that is happening is the Harvard brand. And you might argue that Harvard really doesn't need to market themselves so much. They do. In today's times, when learning is all about the speed, the utility, These are times in which learning is basically based on your utility. In fact, we're living in times where people are saying, stop going to college, stop taking on that debt. In these times, there are a lot of individual content creators, a lot of individual coaches and teachers on their platform. One of my favorite people, Jordan Peterson, he has his own course. And he has brought out such interesting, intelligent courses that you could actually study and gain a lot more understanding about management and psychology and human behavior than you would at a regular program. I mean, one of his latest courses about the great philosopher Nietzsche. That's very interesting, right? So in today's times, people at Harvard know we're competing with that. So we need a higher level of acceptance amongst the people who are our prospective clients. If we package it in the form of knowledge, it is going to automatically register into their minds that we are an authority. Okay? This is what acceptance does. Acceptance establishes authority, right? Then you have penetration. What do I mean by that? Well, Harvard's books on topics, their journals can go places that their name probably won't. Let's say you are in Indonesia, you may be aware of the fancy great colleges in the US, but you're just searching for a good book on negotiation. You just Google it and you get, okay, Harvard Business Review's a short book on negotiation. Let me just order that. What does that do? That creates better penetration. They're entering a market that they weren't able to before. Same thing with the example of George R.R. Martin. Sure, his books were great. But how many people knew him just as a result of his books? If you compare that with the number of people who know him now, it's massive, right? So this is a very important aspect. It increases, it provides for you to improve your penetration into a larger audience if the packaging is correct. Then resonance. How much can you resonate with an individual, an entity, an idea, a concept? Mainly, how much can you resonate with the communicator? Might seem like an abstract concept, but your level of resonance with what is being said and why it is being said will definitely improve the more you have access to the right packaged information. That is what has happened these days with news channels, hasn't it? News channels have packaged themselves as patriots. Right? And so you think that if you stop, at least in India that has happened, I am pretty sure it has happened worldwide, that there's some news channels who have branded themselves as the quintessential patriots. If you're watching that news channel, you're a patriot. If you're not watching them, you're not a patriot. You're not fit to be living in the country. What is that a result of? That's the result of packaging. And then sooner or later, you start resonating with that communicator. Why? Because that communicator, this is something that we're going to pick up in the last part of this series finally, next one, which is delivery. The communicator is intentionally going to hold the tone that enables the right packaging to be able to build this connection with you. And when that connection is built, for example, a lot of readers who are following George R.R. Martin started criticizing how the later episodes of Game of Thrones were at a divergence from the originally written novels. But it didn't really matter to a lot of people. Why? Because the people who find watching series a lot more pleasurable just started watching it, and they're like, you know what, it doesn't really matter. It's fun with the, special effects and all of that, and House of Dragons not that bad either. Let me see what more he has to share. Okay? Then curiosity is a natural consequence of this resonance. Okay, let me see what more he has done. Let me see what more he has created. For example, look at J.K. Rowling. She wrote the Harry Potter series, and she says, I'm not going to, write anymore. But then she came up with parallel series, which people wanted to read. Why? Because they were packaged as being part of the same universe. Could be very different stories, could be very different storylines. In fact, a lot of them seem, in fact, to be contradictory to a lot of storylines in the earlier series. But they're packaged as being part of the same universe. And so you're curious. Just out of curiosity, you're going to buy more books, you're going to read more books, you're going to watch more series, you're going to buy the merchandise. Why? Because now you're curious, now you're resonating with that person. They have gotten hold of you through the right packaging. And finally, loyalty. This is a natural consequence of you investing this much time and effort into discovering, into consuming any kind of communication. Okay, so you will see a lot of great digital marketers out there on the internet. And let me tell you, packaging is not something that is wrong. You just have to take the right packaging. A lot of people leveraging it for the wrong reasons, but you just have to have the right packaging to reach out to the right people. A lot of digital marketers, a lot of trainers, you will find their videos online, helping you with simple concepts that they teach as part of their course. Helping you with a simple report of your website where you can improve it, where it can become better. That's the packaging. That if you just run these free tests, you make use of our website to audit your website, you'll gain all of this knowledge, and you don't even have to pay us. You can use those things to make those changes yourselves and reap the advantages. What it is at the end of the day is a way to market themselves, so that you use their tools, so that you take their subscriptions. So packaging, doesn't matter what your intention is, it doesn't matter what your process is, it doesn't matter the depth of communication in the material. At the end of the day, if you want to reach out to the right people, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the most important thing. You have to tell somebody, let's say, you have to tell somebody who owes you money. Because communication is communication. It doesn't necessarily have to be communication, for content creators, right? Communication is just communication. I'll share another interesting example. Credit card companies these days, or companies that provide credit lines, these non-banking financial companies. Earlier, the regulations weren't as tight, and they used to let their recovery agents loose on you the moment you cross the deadline. And they'd be like, you have to pay, or we're going to make life tough for you, etc., etc. Then with time, things became different, and banks, they started taking a smarter process. Now you know what they say to you? Kindly make the payments on time so that you have enough credit lines at your disposal in the time of need. Kindly make your payments on time to free up your credit so that you can utilize it in the time of need. There's a difference here. There's a difference in packaging. One thing focuses on do this or we're going to cut you off. And if a person is going under, let's say, if a person is already not making enough money, if they have a lot of debt that is snowballed, they might be like, you know what, cut me off. I'll see you in court. We'll figure something out. We'll reach a settlement. But taking that level of haircuts is not good for the bank, not good for the NBFC. This new strategy, however, makes a person think who, for whatever reason, is not that good at maintaining their credit properly. This is going to make them think, you know what, let me free up my credit lines. What if I need this money? What if I need this money in a few days or in a few weeks? Let me just do something. Let me just do what I can. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of packaging. Okay? So I am very happy that this is the penultimate episode of this series. The final episode has also been shot, coming up right next. Thank you so much for watching. This is Jay Kaushal, writer, motivation speaker, and life coach, signing off. Take care. Adios.